In the grandeur and gloom of the Victorian era, a silent killer lurked behind lace curtains and lavish wallpaper. White, tasteless, and nearly invisible. Arsenic. Dubbed the inheritance powder, arsenic was a common fixture in 19th century homes, hiding in plain sight within cosmetics, cleaning products, rat poisons, and even fashionable clothing dyes. But beneath its everyday presence lay a dark secret. It was also the agent of quiet murders, tragic accidents, and widespread environmental poisoning. White Powder: Dark Secrets is the story of how a single substance came to define both the elegance and the eerie undercurrents of Victorian life. During the 1800s, arsenic was readily available and astonishingly cheap. Sold over the counter in chemist shops, it was marketed under various names and forms. Scheele's Green and Paris Green for paints and fabrics, Fowler's Solution as a medicinal tonic, and arsenic trioxide as an effective rat killer. The Victorian fascination with refinement and domestic perfection encouraged the widespread use of arsenic, particularly in home decor. Vivid green wallpapers were in fashion, adorning parlors and drawing rooms across Britain. The brighter and more vibrant the green, the more likely it contained arsenic-based pigments. Ironically, in chasing aesthetic perfection, people were unknowingly surrounding themselves with slow-acting poison. The symptoms of chronic arsenic poisoning, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, skin eruptions, and neuropathy, were often misdiagnosed as cholera or tuberculosis, both common illnesses of the time. Entire families could fall ill simply from sitting in poorly ventilated rooms lined with arsenic-laden wallpaper. The problem intensified with damp conditions, which allowed mold to convert arsenic into toxic airborne compounds. Children and women who spent more time indoors were especially vulnerable. Yet for years, the dangers of arsenic-infused environments were ignored or dismissed, partly due to scientific uncertainty, and partly due to economic and aesthetic interests. The dangers extended beyond decor. Arsenic made its way into medicine and cosmetics, promoted as a beauty enhancer. Arsenic wafers were sold to women who desired the pale porcelain complexion associated with aristocracy. Taken in small doses, these wafers were believed to clear the skin and brighten the eyes. The irony was macabre. Products meant to embody purity and elegance were slowly destroying the bodies of those who used them. Despite warnings from some medical professionals, arsenic remained in high demand, another example of Victorian society's obsession with appearances at the expense of safety. Yet perhaps the darkest side of arsenic's presence in the Victorian era was its role in crime. For those seeking inheritance, revenge, or escape from unhappy marriages, arsenic offered a discreet and effective solution. It was nearly undetectable by taste or smell and mimicked natural illness. Cases of sudden death with suspicious symptoms were common. Women, often trapped in oppressive marriages or limited by societal roles, were accused of using arsenic as a tool of empowerment or desperation. Newspapers sensationalized these cases, stirring public fear and fascination. One of the most infamous cases was that of Mary Ann Cotton, a British woman suspected of murdering as many as 21 people, including her husbands and children, with arsenic. Her case revealed the chilling efficiency with which the poison could be used, especially in an age lacking proper forensic tools. Public fascination with poisoners grew, giving rise to a genre of domestic murder that fascinated and horrified Victorian readers. Novels and penny dreadfuls often depicted cunning wives or jealous rivals wielding poison with deadly intent, reflecting anxieties about shifting gender roles and domestic instability. Science eventually caught up with mystery. The development of the Marsh test in 1836 allowed for more reliable detection of arsenic in human tissue. This advancement ushered in a new era of forensic science, giving investigators a powerful tool to expose murderers who once acted with impunity. As a result, high-profile trials began to result in convictions, and public awareness grew. Arsenic, once seen as a subtle and stylish way to manage pests or perfect one's appearance, began to be associated with death and deceit. By the end of the Victorian era, growing regulation and scientific understanding began to reduce arsenic's presence in consumer products. Laws were introduced to control the sale and labeling of poisonous substances. Manufacturers were pressured to find safer alternatives for pigments and medicines. Still, the legacy of arsenic lingered, not only in the history books but in the very walls and fabrics of surviving Victorian homes. Preservationists today must handle artifacts from the period with caution, knowing that some of the beauty they seek to protect was, quite literally, toxic.